The Sumter County Panthers were eliminated last Friday night in the semifinals of the Georgia High School Association Class AA state playoffs. It was a great season, and we'll discuss more of this on this episode of the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, sports administrators, and sports personalities. Thanks for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Now here's your host, Tim Estes.
Welcome on into this week's episode of the Integrity Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Estes, and once again joined by my friend Scott Westbrook. It was a rainy night in Georgia, Scott, this past Friday night, as Sumter County lost a heartbreaker, 24-18 in overtime. You and I attended this game, and Scott, you just feel for the kids and the coaches from Sumter County. I felt like they gave max effort.
Oh, most definitely. You know, and you and I were, and other fans were speculating all day how the weather was going to affect. Would it benefit Sumter County? Would it benefit Hateville Charter? But one thing we did not take into consideration is Sumter County losing one of their star players to a key injury early in the game.
Absolutely. Before we get started, let me thank all of our friends at Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. They are our premier sponsor. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can haul rock and sand, do driveway work. They can even do large debris piles. And give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal, thank you for being our premier sponsor. Scott, the Hornets of Hateville Charter, just like the Sumter County Panthers, were the number 2 seed in their region. Sumter County, of course, was number 2 in the region behind Carver of Columbus. Hateville Charter was number 2 behind Carver Atlanta. And one of the things that you and I discovered while we were at the game Friday night, Scott, was that 3 of the 4 playoff opponents for Sumter County were from the same region, and that's the region that Hateville Charter was in.
A strong region, very strong, and you know, the teams that we saw play firsthand just showed how strong that region was. It had to be, you know, the strongest in the state. They beat up on each other. They were the SEC of 2A and brought, you know, formidable opponents every Friday night. And you know, Sumter County had a tough road to hoe, but even though they had an injury that just really set them back early in the game, they still had an opportunity to win late.
Absolutely. And Scott, when the season ends, you know, my first thought is the well dry? Did you lose all these seniors and now you got to start rebuilding? In the case of Will Rogers and the Sumter County Panthers, they do lose some very prominent players in this senior class. I am expecting them to be pretty solid again next year, but then 2 and 3 years after that, I think they're going to go on another run. Definitely.
They've got some young players. We saw them this year. We saw them step up and fill the gaps when they needed to. And we also, you've seen them come up through the rec program. You know what's in the pipeline. And next year they're gonna compete. And the year after that and the year after that, they should dominate.
You know, there were several sophomore and freshmen that were on that second tier team. And at Sumter County's level, even at 2A, those guys get a few snaps a game. So it's not like they're coming in unexperienced. But there were 2 freshmen on this team, Aiden Robinson and Jaden Galloway, both at the wide receiver spot, that weren't just starters, they were impact players.
Oh yeah. They didn't play like freshmen. They played like upperclassmen. They didn't let the moment was not too big for either one of them. They were all in there and stepped up and did what they were supposed to do. Even in the bad weather and everything else that was going against Sumter County last Friday night.
So, Scott, the Panthers should be a lot of fun to watch over the next 2 years, 3 years, something like that. My hope is that we can hang on to Will Rogers. When you look at a coach that came into what he came into at Sumter County and to see what he's done in 3 short years as the head coach, I think he's got to be the coach of the year.
Most definitely, and I think these larger programs they're not stupid. They can look and see what he inherited and what level he's brought it to. It's one thing to sit there and go into a program and just continue to win, but it's a whole another situation to change a culture and to make it 180 degrees different than what it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. And there's a lot of programs out there that were once great programs that are struggling right now and know that they've got the right person could definitely turn that culture around. But we can hope, we can pray, and we be thankful for what we've got in the pipeline, because sometimes coaches, after they have a run like that and there's really nothing coming up, that's even more temptation for a coach to start looking at other programs. But I can't imagine many programs that he would be walking into that he has as much talent as Sumter County's bringing up right now in the older middle school and young high school age groups.
Scott, before we get off of football, I don't want to make excuses, but I want to talk reality of how this thing ended. You've mentioned several times about the injury to A.J. Kearse. He went down in the first quarter with an ankle injury. And we know the Kearse family. We know A.J. Had he been able to play, I think there's no question he would have played. But he did not return after that injury, and that left a big gap, not only defensively at the middle linebacker spot, he's also your leading rusher on offense.
Well, defense, it really stood out. We had, obviously a good running back that stepped up and toted the load, and then later on, some defenders stepped up. And you see this a lot of times, and I wish you could, because you and I have seen it in our lives. I mean, you think about, the Georgia Bulldogs finally got to the Final Four once Dominique Wilkins left, and the Tennessee Volunteers finally won their national championship the year after Peyton Manning left. Yeah. Sometimes when there's a player like A.J. Kearse, and the kids, whether they do it consciously or subconsciously, they will not play to the level they're capable of, because they know he's such a formidable player and will definitely do what needs to be done, and really is like having a player and a half out there on the field. Well, suddenly he's gone. And then these players, they start looking around, who's going to be the leader, who's going to step up and fill the gap. Well, there was a few series there that we were getting really concerned, but once we came back after halftime, it was pretty obvious that the adjustments had been made. The players had been, coached up and given the confidence that they would need to do what they needed to do and to stop the bleeding. There was some Hateville, there was some pretty long, we thought, touchdown runs that some Sumter County players ran them down and tackled them, and they ended up not scoring. I mean, it was like that, not just once, but about 3 times during the game. Their running back got into open field, and our second and third layers of defense ran them down and tackled them, which surprised me as much as anybody else. But what you said about AJ, it's 100% true. Nobody was more upset than him in that whole stadium that he was not able to get out there and play, because you and I, we've talked about this before. You've got a player who's already committed to a D1 school, and we've seen this in our lifetime, and other fans and have seen it, that sometimes when the kids get that D1 commit, you almost have to recruit them to come out and play on Friday night, because in their mind they've already stepped over in the college arena or whatever, and looking over the next hill. But not him. He was really, there are exceptional players, and he is definitely one of them who continued to keep the same level of intensity and really stepped it up his senior year.
The other guy I want to mention is the quarterback, Ishmael Jones.
Mm-hmm.
The kid's a senior. He fumbled on the last play of his career that was recovered by Hateville Charter to end the game. But, Scott, you and I talked about this on the way out of the stadium. Sumter County wouldn't have been in that position had it not been for Ishmael Jones. I thought the fourth quarter, he really put the team on his back, brought them in, scored the final touchdown with a minute and something left, and then threw the extra point for the touchdown. And it wasn't a bad play where he fumbled. He made a great play to get to the 3 or 4 yard line, and the defender simply came from behind and punched the ball out. And just tough luck. But that kid really had a great game, a great season.
Yeah, that play does not nowhere near define anything he's done in his high school career and what he's done for Sumter County. Really, I was surprised that there weren't more fumbles the other night with the way the ball was wet and the ground was wet and the rain was just a slow, misty, aggravating rain all night, and that usually leads to a lot of turnovers. And it's a testament to his ability that there weren't more turnovers. And the young man's name escapes me right now. Is number 1 for Sumter County on defense. He really jumped up and stepped up his game and filled that gap once AJ got out. He was I mean, just played at a speed that you don't see much at our level.
Yeah, Kendall Thomas and Donovan Mentor, those other 2 linebackers, right. I thought really stepped up. Mm-hmm. Our show today is also brought to you in part by Carter's Fried Chicken. They're located at 206 Tripp Street in Americus. Their owner, Mike Shaddles, and his staff have been feeding Southwest Georgia for more than 30 years. They offer daily lunch specials featuring baked and fried chicken, have different vegetables every day, and also always have great desserts. Thanks to our friends at Carter's Fried Chicken for sponsoring this segment of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Scott, now we kind of moved to basketball in our area, both college and high school basketball. South Georgia Tech and Georgia Southwestern already off to, they're probably 1/4 of the way through their season now. The South Georgia Tech men are currently 4-9 at the break. They don't play another game until January the 3rd. So they've got a long break there. The South Georgia Tech women are 3-7. They will be back in action this Saturday in Tuscaloosa, Alabama against Three Rivers Community College. But so far, South Georgia Tech men and women have front-loaded that schedule, and their record shows it.
Most definitely. That is a tough pill to swallow when you're coming out of the gates, but you're thankful for it on the back end. You really are. It's like if the fans can just hang tough, there's glory days at the end of this kind of schedule.
And across town at Georgia Southwestern State University, both the men and women sit at 7-2, so they've had a good start to their season. The men will be back at action in the Storm Dome on Saturday, where they'll face Francis Marion. The women will be playing next Wednesday against Clayton State. That, too, will be on the GSW campus at the Storm Dome. We turn to high school basketball. Let's start with Sly County. Their boys are currently 1-2, and Scott, they play in your neck of the woods tomorrow night. They're against Taylor County.
Yes, Taylor County. I've got to meet the coach for Taylor County a couple of weeks ago. He was cleaning out some of the old locker rooms and get some of the old jerseys and put on Facebook. So I had to go buy Tucker's old jerseys and a couple of other players that have moved away from here, went and picked up their jerseys. I got to meet the coach and talk to him. He's a great guy. I've heard nothing but good things about him. So, but of course, I'm hoping that Coach Aldridge can, continue to do well with the Sly County boys and start, winning the game when they start getting in these region schedules.
So the boys are 1-2. The girls are 3-2 right now. Both of those teams in action tomorrow night at Taylor County High School. Southland Academy's boys are 4-2 to start the season. They'll take on Westfield. That'll be tomorrow night. Southland's girls, Scott, and we kind of know their coach, and she's a really good coach in Brooke Peterson. She's 7-1 right now. They'll face Westfield tomorrow night. So both the boys and the girls for the Raiders off to a great start.
Oh, most definitely. That's great, and you love that for Southland, especially after the football season they've had. There's a little added, I wouldn't say pressure, but added enthusiasm and added anticipation for a good basketball season also.
For Sumter County, their boys, of course, got started without many of their football players. And so they're off to a 1-3 start. Tomorrow night will be Saturday night will be the first game with some of those football players back, and they'll face Crisp County. The Lady Panthers of Coach Sherry Harris, they're 2-2 going into the Crisp County game on Saturday. I'm expecting Sumter County's just loaded with athletes. They can play basketball. They can play baseball. They run track. They're football players. They've just got athletes. So let them get their basketball legs under them a little bit, and I'm expecting good things from them.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see them run the table on the region once they get kind of into the groove of things, and once the football players get in there and start playing and get in more basketball shape.
Tonight's show is also brought to you in part by Marty McDonald, State Farm Insurance, located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. Go by and see Marty, Mary Lynn, or any of their staff and let them discuss your insurance needs. They can do the famous discount double check. That ensures that you're receiving all of the savings that are available to you. Thanks again to Marty McDonald, State Farm Insurance. Give them a call at 928-3686 or look them up on Facebook. And remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. All right, Scott, I want to talk a little about state championship football. That'll be available beginning on Tuesday night, or rather Monday night, I guess. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this year from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They're going to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different games of boys, 5 different games of girls flag football. We're going to talk boys because that's what we know right now. On Monday night, Scott, and this will be on GPB TV. So everybody can tune in to GPB and watch it for free at 3:30 on Monday. You're going to have the Class A Division II finals, and that'll be Bowden at 12-2. They're going to take on Lincoln County at 14-0. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I know what my heart says, and then I know what my head says. You know, I mean, obviously my heart wants Lincoln County to win, but my head says, you know, just our history with Bowden and know how they seem to be able to mysteriously grow players and build rosters. And so I'm going to have to go Bowden. But you know, one thing, Tim, we have got Rome and Gainesville playing right now. Some of these state championship games have not been decided yet. And so they
that's right.
So you know, I guess probably a lot of our normal listeners are going to probably catch us on the flip side because of we've got some still semifinal games being played tonight.
So do you feel like Bowden's going to take their third state championship in a row?
You know, why wouldn't they? I mean, when you can sit there and, you know, cherry pick from, you know, other schools in your county and middle school and jump across the state line and get ball players. I mean, you know, the GHSA's not had a couple of good weeks, and so I mean, you know, I'm sure they're not ready to go slay a dragon like some of these schools who are seem to mysteriously have new rosters every year.
All right, at 7:00 on Monday, that'll be the 4A state championship. This is the one I don't know much about. You may know these teams better than I do, Scott, but in 4A, you've got Creekside at 14-0 taking on Benedictine at 12-2.
Yeah, and yeah, and I don't know if it's Benedictine or Benedictine. I have no idea, but I know that they're in there every year. And Creekside has been a powerhouse in these past, you know, the past decade. I'm going to go with the guys from Savannah, regardless how you say it. I mean, they're one, you know, a private school that once again can you know, get their hands on players that some of the public schools have, and plus their coaches does a phenomenal job down there. I think he does a great job, and he puts a lot of kids in scholarship positions, and I think that's why a lot of parents like to send their kids to that school. I mean, if you can afford to do it, you can certainly put your kid in a position that's a pipeline in a lot of colleges that you know, maybe the Buford of Southeast Georgia, so to speak.
All right, on Tuesday, it gets started at 2:00. The Class A Division I state championship will be played, and that's one of our Georgia teams. That's Worth County at 14-0, the Toombs County Bulldogs at 13-1.
Yeah, Worth County, I'm super excited. They're having a great year and seem to be doing really well and are peaking at the right time. But Toombs County does have one state championship already under their belt, and they're another team that has been, historically been kind of a doormat, really, when it comes to football. For the past 3 or 4 years, though, they've just really stepped it up and got a state championship under their belt, and maybe going to get a second one.
All right, the next game's going to be the real familiar with Carver, Columbus, the defending state champions, the winners of county's region. They take on.
Yeah, with it being Hapeville and Carver of Columbus, I think Carver of Columbus breathed a huge sigh of relief not having to play Sumter County, because especially after that last slugfest, the last game was. I'm not so sure they really wanted to play Sumter County again, but I'm going to give the nod to Carver on this one too.
Yeah, I think I will too. Scott, at 8 o'clock, they flipped the 5A and the 6A state championship. Originally, the 5A was going to play on Tuesday. Now they're going to play on Wednesday. So the 6A group, that's Buford and Carrollton, a repeat of last year's 6A state championship. And this is two teams, Scott, that if they didn't have out players, both the 4A schools, but because they are 6A schools, they both basically said, we're going to do what we do, put us wherever you want to put us. And they're both in the 6A state championship.
And Buford and Carrollton both are storied programs in the state of Georgia. The example I gave a while ago with Peyton, Tennessee finally went on an international championship once Peyton Manning left. The same might be true with Carrollton after Juju left. I mean, Juju could have, I think, played another year in high school. I think he reclassed, and but Carrollton is strong. I mean, it's really neat too. These two schools have probably the best facilities of any two schools in the state of Georgia. I can't imagine there being two schools that have better facilities and better programs in that arena than the Buford and Carrollton. Once again, all right. I'm probably going to have to go with Buford on that one.
On Wednesday, Scott, the private school Class A through 3A, the 3A state championship and the 5A state championship, which we don't even know who those will take place. Custom Sales also a sponsor this week. Custom Sales is located at 907 Martin Luther Boulevard. Their owners, Lance and Jessica Stick, they've been fixing your ride for 25 years. Now they want to help you buy one. And listen, I went by their lot today. They've got a bunch of cars, a bunch of SUVs, some really nice trucks. Get by there and see them or give them a call at 924-5558, or you can check them out online at customperformanceauto.com. Thanks again to Custom Auto Sales for bringing the integrity. Scott, it's been a fun high school football season. We have averaged more than 3,000 views a week for this season. Our show continues to grow. Scott, I really appreciate you joining me again this year. I hope we can do it again next year. I hope we can upgrade some of our software and do it again. That's always a lot of fun.
Same Tim. Have a great one. Enjoy these state championships, and I'll see you next year, brother.
We've got some great shows lined up for you over the next few weeks. Just to give you an idea of what we've got coming, Riley Israel, former Sumter County resident, played